When I was a kid, my mom's a CPA, and so in her office, they had this massive Xerox machine. My favorite thing to do was go to the Xerox machine, and I would draw a picture, and then I would make copies of it so I could have a bunch of them. You put that original down on this glass surface, and you would make like 5 or 6 or 7 copies of the original. And as you got to copy 5 or you got to copy 6, there was a little more gradient. Like the copy got worse the more copies you printed. And so when I would go upstairs with this stack of the drawing, I'd pass them out around the office. My mom would always ask me for the original one. She always wanted like the one that I had drawn first because she wanted the best one. My mom changed offices a few years ago, so we were packing up her office, and I opened up a drawer in her desk, and she had a stack of all these drawings that I had done. She'd kept them in the drawer because they mattered. They were the originals that her daughter had given her. There we go. Check, 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 check. Check 1, 2, 1, 2. Social media, access to digital technology, selfie cameras, whatever, it drives a person to want to present the sheen and the pretty and the shiny because there's this comparison game going on. And we think it's easier to just follow everything around us. But consumption leads to the copy, leads to a teenager not knowing who they are. And I think Carlo is a prophetic voice. He knew the Lord. And to know Jesus and to make him the priority in a world that is constantly changing is the only thing that's going to keep us sane.
Welcome to the University of Mary. And if you haven't figured this out, in less than 2 days, you're going to be on a plane going to the Eternal City. What do you say about that? Come on! We're going to Rome. We're in our 23rd year of taking high school kids from the 4 Catholic high schools in North Dakota to Rome, seeing the Eucharistic miracles, seeing the Holy Father, and telling the whole story. And this year, it's really absolutely amazing because I'm telling them the story of Blessed Carlo Acutis and then going to see his body.
I just kind of want to have fun with my friends and not really expecting to get a lot out of it from the religious point of it. But we're going to Rome, so might as well sign up for the pilgrimage.
Biggest reason is I want to have a good time, see cool things, have Italian food.
My mom is very faith-based, and she really pushed for me to go on this trip.
My family's very devout Catholics. Sometimes it doesn't feel almost real. I don't know.
Like, I don't take it seriously.
With the trends of like Instagram and TikTok, you have all these people saying, well, that's just scientific, that God, is not real and stuff like that. And you just start to believe it. Like I always questioned, is God real? Is the church real? And then when I found out that we were going to visit Carlo Acutis, I couldn't not go.
The attraction of Carlo Acutis is that he's a young millennial saint who was technologically savvy. He put together a website of Eucharistic miracles, which is the work of evangelization. You don't want your understanding of a young man like that to be limited to his technological savvy, because then you don't understand really the story of his life.
In the history of the church, you find so many different kinds of saints, and we could say, like G.K. Chesterton said, that God sends each time the saint that it needs. And Carlo is, in a certain way, that saint for our time.
accurate.
That's good.
That's really good.
Do you ever add it up and see
Or
how many
Snapchat.
days of your life you waste on your phone?
Mine's only. Oh.
I got 6.
2 hours 40.
Mine's not too bad, I feel like. I mean,
My high last week was 6 hours and 26 minutes.
Mine's 8, so that's
Holy!
8? 7 hours?
7 hours and 45 minutes.
Or
Most of the
40.
time I'm at work with this.
Man, like, if you only have 6 hours of school and 6 hours of social media, like, those are equal competitors for your formation.
Blaise Pascal said that all the trouble in the world can be reduced to the inability of a man to sit quietly in his own room. The screen has become a counterfeit of the transcendent world. Well, when screens become a reality, and when you invest the whole of who you are into the careful cultivation of some kind of profile, we're opening ourselves up to serious devastation.
For a few decades now in America, rates of mental health problems have been steeply increasing.
If you look which generation it is that identifies as the loneliest, you would think it would be the elderly because they're often isolated, stuck at home or in a nursing home. No. It's the most connected generation, the young who have all of these social network connections.
Think about it for more than half a second and your just heart breaks for what young people especially have to go through today. I mean, there's things like the awfulness of pornography, body image issues. Technology can be used for this tremendous evil.
All the research points to the fact that the generation that grew up with a smartphone in their hands is the most mentally ill generation on Earth.
1 in 5 American adolescents is currently receiving psychotherapy for mental illness. About 15% are currently on a psychoactive medication. But even if we just consider how many adolescents report experiencing hopelessness, loneliness, and sadness, that rate is at 42%.
That's not all chemical imbalances in the brain. There's something else going on.
This is not simply a question of mental health. It's a question of the deepest possibilities of human life being neglected.
Without an awareness of an ultimate meaning that we can encounter, nothing can satisfy the human heart, and these symptoms will continue to arise.
The policy of the pilgrimage is no technology at all, so
no phones. Absolutely none.
Nothing, no little Game Boys, nothing like that.
The highest technology you can bring is a digital camera.
They leave their phones in America and they go to Rome. That's our policy.
I was kind of mad, I'm not gonna lie. I did not want to follow that rule. I was like, well, I want to take photos, look up stuff on Google Maps, posting every day on my trip because it's Italy and, you know, it's a cool place to be, right?
It's become something quite substantial and quite serious because everybody has a cell phone, and so there's something about being adventurous and letting go. But it really also is much more a spiritual issue. It's about control. You're not in control, and technology doesn't give you control, it gives you the perception of control.
There's a real world out here. They become more human as they become less digital. Carlo's life, his relatability, can draw people into a contemplation of these great questions about human life and meaning. That is the great promise of Carlo Acutis. If he's a true saint, he's an antidote to the ails of our age.
Carlo Acutis was born in the same year as the launch of the World Wide Web.
Carlo was born May 3rd, 1991. In London, he moved to Milan a few months later, and he spent the rest of his life in Milan.
His family's apartment was located just around the block from both his parish church and his Catholic elementary school. Carlo's mother Antonia was born in Rome, and she grew up in a culturally Catholic family. Carlo's father, Andrea, was from a wealthy family in northern Italy in the city of Turin.
Carlo was as simple and as normal as anyone has, but in his normality, he has something to demonstrate to the world.
Carlo's story is very liberating when it comes to thinking about how to get back to reality, because he lived a very ordinary life. We have everything we need to live the Christian life in these circumstances where we are.
Il rapporto con la fede prima di Carlo era abbastanza lontano, cioè sia mia moglie che io abbiamo ricevuto un'educazione cattolica, però poi con l'università, stando lontani da casa, ci si distrae abbastanza rapidamente.
So very, very ignorant about faith matter. When Carlo was born, of course, he was very advanced in everything. He was naturally religious.
A really important person in Carlo's spiritual life and development was his nanny from Poland named Beata. And Beata is likely the first person to bring Carlo to Mass on a regular basis and to teach him the basic principles and teachings of the Catholic faith.
When he was 3 years, he started to be very interested in faith matter. When we do a walk, he wanted to enter in the church, to stay in front of the cross, in front of the tabernacle, the Virgin Mary. So, very, very strong interest.
He had this sort of will to go to church, and not only on Sundays.
When Carlo was 4 years old, he began to ask many questions at home about the faith, and Antonia couldn't answer them because she had only been to Mass 3 times before Carlo's birth.
When Carlo was 4 and a half, nearly 5 years, my father died suddenly of an heart attack. Carlo told me that grandfather had appeared to him, told him that he needed prayers because he was in purgatory. These things, of course, touched me very much, because I believed Carlo, because it seemed very true vision.
She started to do research. She started to speak to a priest, and the priest told her, Antonia, you need to study your faith. You need to go back and study. So she began to take classes in theology.
Carlo, for me, was a great inspiration. I always say that Carlo was a little savior for me.
I mean, that's not the average thing. That was the Lord calling him. And he calls all of us all the time. But for the heart of a small child to contemplate that love and to feel that call and to just go with it, that's a beautiful thing.
Carlo's story helps me see that the desire of the human heart is for God, and contemplation is fundamental to who we are. Because even for someone who was not growing up in a particularly devout family, there was this intuition of something more, something beyond.
The Christian sacramental vision is an acknowledgement, first of all, that our minds are limited and that there's only so much that we can come to understand. That humility is something which I think the modern world at its origin was impatient with.
In the pre-modern world, there was a profound sense that all of reality was sacramental, spoke of the mystery of God. In the early modern period, that permanently changed.
At the dawn of the modern age, there was a resurgence of interest in magic.
Magic is about using incantations, spells, and rituals to compel matter to perform according to our will. It's no accident that the scientific revolution came from alchemy, from early natural scientists trying to manipulate matter to make gold.
One of the most decisive moments in this transformation came in the work of Francis Bacon.
Bacon said that man's goal is to torture nature to make her reveal her secrets.
Bacon wrote about how this new type of scientific process
is there to help us finally control nature. This notion became sort of the gospel of modern scientific and technological process.
The modern scientific turn does allow for extraordinary innovations in human life.
Just think of the incredible discoveries of the modern medical system. So this is good. The only problem is when this becomes the dominant and indeed exclusive way of relating to the world around us.
If there is nothing beyond what we can see and measure and touch and feel, if there is no transcendent world, what you have is simply technical knowledge, simply knowledge for the sake of power.
It is ultimately an ideology of control.
Carlo knew that the winning formula is not I, but God.
Carlo experienced the beauty of a spiritual life very early in life. He experienced that spiritual realities were true and they were good. And so he wanted to live for these things.
Carlo Acutis was trying to wake us up to the wonder, the awe that is right there for the taking. If we learn to see that God is real and He is everywhere, filling all things.
One summer, while Carlo was on vacation with his grandparents near Cinque Terre in Portofino, his family was out on a boat on the Italian coast. A bunch of dolphins came up near the boat.
Carlo liked very much the dolphins, It's also the symbol of Christ, the dolphin. There are a lot of catacombs in which you will see the dolphins, It's a symbol.
Carlo's mother remembers that Carlo was just radiant with joy when he saw these dolphins swimming by the boat. And later, when she asked him about it, Carlo revealed that he had actually prayed and asked God to see some dolphins while they were out at sea that day.
So thousands of dolphins, it was incredible. My father-in-law that was used to go to the sea for years, he said he never saw something like this. And this was a little bit a present that Jesus used to do to Carlo.
We have to be able to see the poetry of the world around us. It's really a matter of perception, a matter of faith.
And what that really means is that we see first with love. Carlo, because he loved the Lord Jesus, because he looked with those types of eyes, he was able to see far more deeply.
We're in Rome. The flight felt like a whole day. We were in there.
I've never been out of the country before, and I had never flown on a plane, so just 10 hours. It was a little nerve-wracking.
Definitely hard to not call or text my mom or friends.
I was kind of scared when we drove here, but then we got into the ancient city, and it was so cool.
Welcome to Rome. This city has affected your life more than you can ever imagine, because this is ground zero.
We think of evangelization often as this sort of technique. For Paul, he's like, I've experienced Jesus so deeply, I can't stop preaching the gospel.
With our secular culture, it's hard to have a faith life and be very open about it.
I wanted to go on the pilgrimage because at first I just wanted to do it for the experience. But before we had to do final payments for it, I found out that my mom had this tumor. She's a single mom, so, it's just always been me and her. out of all people, why her? My faith, it's definitely been declining. I want it to get stronger and fix it.
I've been taught what to believe for so long, and now I'm in a point in my life where it's kind of up to me to decide if I really believe in that.
Just like I really wanted to have a real experience that verifies that what I believe in is 100% true.
We're at St. Peter's Basilica in the courtyard. There's not many words that can describe like what's going on right now.
If we're going to draw close to St. Carlo Acutis, we have to get to know him from the inside. And on that inside, we're going to find a heart that beat always in synchrony with the Lord's Eucharistic heart.
When Carlo was little and began to learn how to read, he would read, the Bible or children's books on saints, and he discovered the Eucharist, that the Eucharist was the real presence of Jesus.
As soon as St. Carlo recognized that Jesus is the Eucharist, he hungered in order to be able to receive him. So he lobbied the priest there at the Catholic school that he was going to allow him to make his first Holy Confession as early as possible so that he'd be able to fulfill that ravenous hunger to receive Jesus.
Carlo did his first Holy Communion in 1998. For him it was so important. I remember when we were going up to the hill because this monastery is up to a hill, at a certain moment, a pastor with a little lamb crossed the street and we have to stop. The lamb is symbol of Christ in the Eucharist, so I saw that like a sign.
Carlo experienced a profound conversion and encounter with the living Jesus in his first Holy Communion. And he went to daily Mass every day after that. In fact, he did adoration every day after that.
This was the fixed appointment of his day. Everything was normal in the life of Carlo, the schools, the friends, the sports. But the most important thing for Carlo was the meeting with Jesus that he really present in the Blessed Sacrament.
Carlo's deep devotion to the Eucharist allowed him not simply to live his life with joy, but also with deep hope.
St. Carlo would say, Gesù, vieni dentro. Jesus, come within. Make yourself at home.
There's a lovely story of his pastor from his parish in Milan who he had just started working in the church, and one day, he comes in and he sees this teenager praying by himself in front of the tabernacle, and he asked him, why are you here? What are you doing? And Carlo said, I like to pray. I like to try to think of how I can be a light for others.
Carlo rispetto all'Eucaristia era sempre molto chiaro con noi, diceva che comunque prendere la comunione tutti i giorni, confessarsi spesso, erano il modo migliore per mantenere un rapporto aperto con Dio e con la nostra spiritualità, quindi esortava anche noi a farlo.
Carlo knew that by being present in front of the Eucharist, he could find that meaning that would make everything else make sense. That's why when Blessed Carlo says the Eucharist is my highway to heaven, he's not giving us a slogan. He's telling us what we were made for.
You receive Holy Communion. There's nothing greater that you can have. You are, for that moment, already in heaven.
One of the things that stands out vividly in the life of Carlo is how much he loved the Eucharist. But it's more than just that, how much he saw the Eucharist as the actual presence of God, here and now, in this particular place.
Jesus is in a place. Like, Jesus has an address. I know where Jesus is because he said, I will be with you until the end of the age. I will be with you.
The Eucharist is the precise opposite of modern technology. It connects us all, but it does so in and through the body. It leads one to wonder whether one of the reasons that social media has been able to channel so much of our spiritual and cultural energies is precisely because it operates as something like a substitute for the Eucharist.
The Apple Computer Company has this really startling ad in which all of these material objects, these analog objects like musical instruments and pieces of art, toys and games, are crushed in this sort of industrial compression machine. And after this sort of violent display of destruction, the machine opens up to reveal
the brand new iPad Pro.
That is seriously messed up and super accurate, isn't it?
I mean, I was just thinking about it. It's depressing. It's depressing all of what's good about humanity. What was the thought process?
This is the purest distillation of the digital age. They're crushing all individuality for the sake of digitizing everything. They will digitize your soul if they thought they could make money on it.
What's being proposed to us in this technology is a substitution of reality. We're moving away from machines taking the place of human beings in our interaction with reality, with something taking the place of reality simply.
What if all you knew of a tomato were ketchup? Or what if all you knew of a watermelon were a Jolly Rancher? This is what's happening to us in our digital reality.
This is the sort of thing that is happening, I believe, to young people. You go into the digital world where anything can be whatever you want it to be. No wonder they become paralyzed with anxiety and depression and don't know what to do with themselves.
I like to think, and the sooner the better, of a cybernetic meadow where mammals and computers live together in mutually programming harmony, like pure water touching clear sky. I like to think it has to be of a cybernetic ecology, where we are free of our labors and all watched over by machines of loving grace.
If you look at the rise of the internet to where we are today, the transformation has been tremendous.
It starts with the Cold War and the threat of nuclear war.
The Defense Department, they wanted to find ways for their scientists to communicate.
Later, it evolved into the ARPANET, which was a similar network connecting research institutions and universities in the United States primarily, before spreading around the world.
People in what is now Silicon Valley in the San Francisco Bay Area became very utopian about this. They took the 1960s baby boomer utopianism and brought it into technology. And they began to think that as they developed the internet, they were going to create paradise on earth.
I think that I haven't felt this kind of excitement with a new technology since the introduction of LSD.
Now, there was this very strange marriage in the evolution of digital technology where the counterculturalists who had these utopian ideals began to become a part of the establishment, the industries, the academies that were actually building these technologies. And that's what we're seeing today as it plays out, this tension between the utopian ideal of what technology can do for humankind and this also very human impulse to attain power and control.
The way that websites are built, the way that advertising campaigns are run, are done to intentionally manipulate people, to keep you within your bubble of social media, within your bubble of the internet.
The designers of digital technology have produced them to be as addictive as possible. So for example, they change the visual stimulation that they present to our senses very rapidly. knowing that this activates the mesolimbic reward system, which is a structure deep in the brain that releases dopamine and reinforces behaviors on the neurological level. Because of this, when you engage with a digital screen, it's telling your brain to keep doing that this is a rewarding and reinforced behavior.
The developers of this software have hacked the human mind. They understand it's a language. It is part of the way that we think. What are the implications of it?
Question is, well, what is the vision for human life that the internet today now presents to us?
In this particular program, we are fortunate to have a man who is a byword in the world of electronics, the world of communications. His name is Marshall McLuhan.
Marshall McLuhan was a professor at the University of Toronto.
He saw media as forms that had effects on our consciousness.
Marshall McLuhan, one of the pioneers of studying this technology, famously said that the medium is the message.
And what he meant by that was the most important effect that something like television is having on us is not the content that it's delivering, but the means by which it's delivering the content.
Digital technology is not just a tool that enables us to do something new, but it's actually a mode or method, a new way of doing everything.
I think it is more satisfactory to say that any medium, be it radio or be it wheel, tends to create a completely new human environment.
Digital technology isn't just transforming culture as a whole, it's transforming our own definition of humanity.
As the electronic technologies converge, his concern was that they're doing so in a way that is bringing us not to union and unity and communion, but a mere simulation or imitation of those.
And so for many people, the new electric surround is a ripoff, which destroys their image of themselves, their identities. All the familiar boundaries, all the familiar landmarks of their world have been eroded instantly by this electric invisible surround of information. In the electric age, man becomes a kind of disembodied spirit, the angelic, discarnate man of the electric age, who is always in the presence of all the other men in the world.
One of the threats to the Christian religion as an incarnate religion, one that is founded on the incarnation of Jesus Christ, is that the electric world and the digital world are disincarnate, that they don't require bodies for us to communicate with one another.
We are becoming increasingly accustomed to seeing things as if it's on a screen. We become passive spectators.
When the notion of presence itself is being eroded by our technologies, that becomes ever more important to understand what it means to be really present, to be truly present.
At the time of Carlo, there were no smartphones, but already we had internet. And of course, he was very moderate.
Just before he received his PlayStation, he read an article about how young Americans were getting addicted, and so made the firm commitment that he wouldn't play it more than 1 hour a week.
Carlo, nonostante fosse molto legato al mondo del digitale, era comunque una persona alla quale piaceva vivere i rapporti umani, e lui comunque dopo tot minuti o al massimo un'ora che noi eravamo lì a giocare dice basta, adesso si fa una pausa, andiamo fuori.
And I think Carlo is a great example of someone who understood the subtleties of the technology and really rooted his life in relationship to his family, to his friends, and to our Lord. And if you do that first, these temptations of technology are less of a threat.
If we understand that the Eucharist, Jesus Christ present in the host, in the chalice, in adoration, is our gateway to a vast, invisible world, then we're plugged into a reality much more epic, romantic, striking, and life-changing, transformative than we could ever otherwise imagine. And that places everything in its proper place.
Seeing Jesus' cross just brought me into that moment of the crucifixion almost. Seeing other people's reactions to it, crying and just having their own impactful moment, it really helped me realize like I'm a part of something amazing right now, like something that changes lives.
This image was used to make the most accurate depictions we have of the crucifixion.
I used to space out a lot during Mass or just fall asleep because it's in the morning and I'm tired. But I really feel like I have a connection to the Mass now and feel like I have a connection to the Eucharist. I just feel God's presence more while I'm in Mass because I'm so focused on it.
I'm not a person that really asks for something from God. I'd usually thank him like, you know, thanks for this beautiful day we're having. But I felt like God saying, it's okay, and this is your chance to, you know, pray for your mom.
And my God is not my strength. It is too little, he says, for you to be my servant. I will make you a light to the nations.
It's very special to just sit down and finally ask for something, I guess. Really just to heal her, make it go away.
I like to find more time in my day for silence. And at Mass, I like to really just enter deeper into the sacrament.
I'm feeling a real difference. Just finding peace in prayer. I'm just there with Jesus, like it's just peace. And it's a peace that it's really, really, really hard to find anywhere else.
Behold the Lamb of God, behold him who takes away the sins of the world. Blessed are those called from the supper of the Lamb.
And that's what Carlo did, is it not? He loved the Eucharist. He had the Eucharist as his ultimate good, which then allowed him to put everything else in its proper place. Nothing else, no smartphone, no relationship, no social media, took the place of God.
When Carlo was 11, he began to work as a catechist, an assistant catechist in his parish, and he realized that a lot of kids were not that excited about the Eucharist.
It never made sense to Carlo why his peers at school didn't take Jesus nearly as seriously as he did.
So he struggled with this, and it upset him a little bit, and he would tell his mom, he'd say, Mom, you know, why is it that people, in order to go to a rock concert, will stand online for hours, but then the churches in Italy are empty? So he began to do some research on Eucharistic miracles.
He went to the Eucharistic miracle site of Lanciano, where in the 8th century, while a priest was celebrating Mass, the priest's host turned into human heart tissue. And as soon as he was talking about this to his classmates, they couldn't get enough. The light bulb went off for Carlo, that it was through the Eucharistic miracles that he was able to attract his peers to the great miracle of miracles.
Carlo was convinced that the evidence of Eucharistic miracles from throughout history could help people to realize this great gift of Christ's presence in the Eucharist.
I mean, it's one of the most compelling things in the world. You got a piece of host that starts bleeding? Explain that to me. A doctor looks at it, scientists look at it, and there's nothing they can say. I mean, how can you argue with that?
He taught himself when he was just an 11-year-old kid web design and video editing and graphic design in order to build a website first to put up 196 parts of the Eucharistic miracles in the world, and then a series on Mary, then a series on the last things.
Ha studiato su dei libri di livello universitario, dei libri di ingegneria informatica, e ha imparato a programmare, e quindi completamente autodidatta.
Lo guardavo scrivere questi codici, dico, ma viene da un altro pianeta, non è possibile. Quindi era una cosa che mi è rimasta molto molto impressa.
It's a neat, almost paradoxical thing that he used the disenchanting, disembodied internet to spread the sanctity of matter.
Jesus Christ comes to us under the forms of bread and wine. It's not a spectacle, it's an anti-spectacle. It's not about grabbing attention, it's communion, it's love.
This is the right use of technical knowledge and skill to draw it into the service of a higher purpose.
He's subverting the medium. He's subverting the digital medium by saying, this isn't what's enchanting. What's enchanting is our Lord in the Eucharist.
If St. Paul were still alive today, there's no question he would be using social media to proclaim the faith. If St. Francis Xavier were alive today, he would likewise be using these incredible means. And Carlo is the great apostle of modern technology for that purpose.
His goal was not to be an influencer to have a following. His goal was to get people off of his website back into church. That was the goal.
He used the internet, he understood that it was an instrument that had fantastic power, if used well for evangelization. This exhibition, for example, is one of the fruit that using internet he achieved, but he did things that really are impacting now the world. This is the reason why Pope Francis is calling Carlo influencer of God.
Here's a young man using the electronic world and media, websites, and the internet for the good.
Carlo Acutis spent 2.5 years of his life documenting all the Eucharistic miracles that he could from around the world. And one of the miracles that he was fascinated by took place in Siena in 1730. And it was a case in which thieves broke into the basilica and stole the consecrated Eucharistic hosts. And they miraculously reappeared 3 days later in the alms box without any sign of damage, and subsequently for centuries show no signs of decay. Scientists in the 20th century have studied them and say that they defy the laws of physics and biology.
Something that I really prayed about going into the pilgrimage was like, God, please help me understand fully that what I'm receiving is your body and your blood. And we all did like waves going up to the altar, and we prayed in front of those hosts, and they are 100% like pure. They're still there.
Just, you hear the stories and you're kind of like, well, I don't know. And then to actually see it, the Eucharistic miracles were spectacular, I would say, because it showed me that it's real and it's true.
Well, that was kind of my first, I had that moment of realization, and then ever since then, just it means that much more to receive the Eucharist at Mass.
My heart was pounding a lot, waiting my turn, in line, and just feeling his presence, but also starting to get kind of angry at him. I don't want to do this, I don't want to talk to him. When I knelt before this Eucharistic miracle, I just felt God say to me, like, you might be mad at me now, and that's okay, but it will be okay. And it's just the plan I have for you. And it was hard to hear at first.
Seeing that and like it actually being there in front of you, it shows that Jesus like doesn't actually just work in your mind. He doesn't work just like in the Bible. Like it's happening today, and it's still happening today. It puts into perspective how much Jesus loves us. My faith is not in a book. My faith is being lived out right now.
St. Francis of Assisi is often seen as a pinnacle of Christianity.
St. Francis is also a man who had his heart completely taken by God at a young age in a very dramatic way.
Assisi was the place where Carlo was the happiest. He loved the spiritual nourishment that the city of St. Francis provided him.
He often said it was his favorite place on earth. With his parents, they would visit many times for vacation and eventually bought a vacation house, and that's where they go even now.
When I was 7 and he was 9, we started to go to Assisi together, and we stayed there for the Easter holidays and sometimes also for the summer holidays. And he loved a lot Assisi.
Carlo also loved to take advantage of the beauty of nature and the peace that surrounded this medieval hill town, the city of Assisi. And he would like to go on hikes in the hills and walk his dogs along the different paths around the city.
He loved to take walks in the beautiful surrounding environment, making that connection back to nature, stepping outside of all of the noise of life, enjoying the silence.
He really lived with one foot on this earth and one foot in heaven, constantly thinking about the realities of heaven. And he wanted other teenagers and people around him to be aware that this life is not all that there is. We have another life to prepare for.
Definitely before this pilgrimage, I was very obsessed with technology.
A lot of our world, I guess, is literally on our phones. And it's like we don't have that, so it seriously feels like it's a dream.
Because I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to... It's just really peaceful, I think.
Instead of focusing on our phones, I can focus on the gelato. Food here is so good.
Are you guys like afraid at all that like when you go back, you're gonna have a bunch of messages?
Yeah, I know I can't avoid going to my phone. Like, I'm gonna go back to it either way.
Totally.
So it's like, it's real like that. Like, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I just know, like, when I get back, my phone's gonna be very overwhelming. Because there's so many things I haven't even, like, touched for, like, 2 weeks straight. And I just don't want to go.
No, it's true.
It's not even gonna be enjoyable scrolling through them because I'll be so stressed that I have to get through them.
Yeah.
Like I'm behind.
It feels like a
scrolling.
chore. You never talk? You just send a picture of your face?
Or they just act so awkward because we just don't know how to interact anymore. It was hard the first few days. I was having like a little bit of withdrawal, but
I feel like if we had our phones, the noises in the restaurant wouldn't be as loud as they are.
Everything feels more genuine. It's hard for people to do sometimes, but when you talk with your friends, like you connect to them on a level that you didn't even know they have.
We've been to school for, 12 years together, and we haven't had, the conversations that we had on the trip.
beautiful over here. I don't know what to say. Like, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Magical.
Yeah.
Like, really connect with God.
Yeah, it was rich. It was very surreal.
Carlo was a great friend. He was affectionate, he was kind, he was generous, and he was fiercely loyal.
Carlo knew that the secret of life was a relationship with others, and he did that by connecting particularly with the poor, the downtrodden, the discarded of society. I think of his babysitter, a Hindu from Mauritius, Rajesh, who was truly struck by the witness of Carlo.
I am from a Hindu family, and my parents live in Mauritius. I just wanted to move to Italy because I could work and help my family. After I moved to Milan, I met Carlo family.
Rajesh began to work with Carlo and his mom and dad, and really Rajesh for him was a great friend.
From that time, Carlo used to explain so many things about the Bible, about Mother Mary. He just teaches me how to pray, how to attend the Mass. Before going to school, he asked me always to just accompany him to the church for Eucharistic adoration. When he reached in front of the tabernacle, his expression was very special because he knew Jesus lived in the tabernacle. He said that after baptism, your life is going to change completely because you will be in communion with Jesus Christ. All those things get me converted deep down from my heart. I'm what I am now, today, because of Carlo. So my life has completely changed.
Carlo was just a very, very special person who, even though he came from a wealthy family, he talked to everyone. He talked to the doormen, he talked to the shop vendors. Everyone was the same for him.
And Carlo, because he loved and because he listened, was supremely capable of doing that, first with his peers, going to school in Milan, and then all across the planet during his lifetime. And now he's doing it from the right side of the Eucharistic Lord Jesus in heaven.
Death gives us the ultimate, most unassailable evidence that we do not create ourselves and we do not control our own lives.
Death is something which a modern technological understanding of reality cannot cope with. From a scientific, existential standpoint, death is the great question for which there is no good answer.
What this can give birth to is a kind of transhumanism, or an attempt to surmount the limits of death by creating biotechnological devices that will enable us to never die.
You've got these don't die movements, and you've got this I'm gonna transform my consciousness to an AI and it's gonna live forever movements. And, you know, that is just this medication of I'm not gonna pay attention to God, I'm gonna distract myself from God.
There's a big search in society today that trickles down from the most expensive boardrooms and the most exclusive parts of Silicon Valley into daily life, that we are on the precipice of some new transformation of technology into a way to create immortality for everyday people.
We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens, because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds.
2045, we'll be able to multiply our intelligence many millions fold. And it's very hard to imagine what that will be like.
As human beings, we've always had a fascination with limits, with natural limits. And this goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden. The apple is this kind of icon of going beyond the limit, going just beyond the limit, to taste and touch the forbidden. And so technology, in a way, has been our way as human beings in culture to keep pressing that limit. How far can we go?
This is not ultimately going to satisfy us, because what our heart longs for is not perpetual life here on earth, but rather the life of a saint, of Christ in us.
As human beings, we are not just body and not just soul. We are a body-soul composite that interacts with our environment. And if we start separating them, we lose the meaning of the human person. No technology can be truly human that neglects even a part of who we are.
Carlo Acutis was able to understand that he had these natural limits, that he was going to die, and he was going to die very young. He found his ground in the embodied experience of being with others. There's a temptation with technology to sort of be weightless. We have to resist that temptation.
Carlo's deep rootedness in Jesus allowed him not simply to live his life with joy, but also to approach the profoundly haunting human question of death with the gift of faith.
Carlo loved heaven. He had already tasted heaven. He had tasted it in the Eucharist. And because he had tasted heaven, when he could see that it was coming, he could accept it.
Carlo, 2 months before to die, he had done a video in which he says, with a smile, looking in the sky, when I will be 70 kilos, I am destined to death.
Sono destinata a morire.
But he was very, relaxed, because he didn't fear the death. He used to say that the death is the through passage to the real life. And they used to say that we have to live each day like it was the last day of our life. We don't have to fear death.
Il rapporto di Carlo con la morte era diverso da quello di molti altri ragazzi, perché è questo che ha portato quindi a questa serenità che aveva anche negli ultimi momenti della sua vita.
It was during the time of San Francesco's Day, of festivity. It was in the month of October. So when he went to school, he came back earlier. Then I asked him, how come you came home so early? He said that, no, nothing serious, I'm not feeling well and I want to just relax, We all thought that Carlo, maybe he had some influence, some fever.
At first, his parents weren't very concerned because, there was a flu going around Milan. But then they realized it was getting worse and it was getting really bad. At that point, they bring him to a hospital. They start to do tests.
As he was entering the hospital, he told his parents, I will not come out of here alive.
And they were told that he had a terminal leukemia. It was the worst kind of leukemia you can have. So it was devastating, and Carlo met the news with a kind of serenity.
When his mom saw Carlo, she could notice all of those red spots, like hemorrhage, all around his eyes. She started crying, Then Carlo said, Mom, you don't have to worry, All of these sufferances, I'm offering it to all of the churches, to the Pope, and to Jesus Christ, because I want to go not to the purgatory, I want to go directly to paradise. After my death, you have to bury me to Assisi. You have to promise me.
Through the illness, he was always smiling, never complaining, even if he had very big pain. And when the doctors asked him, "Are you suffering?" and he used to say, "No, there are people who are suffering much more than I." He was always thinking about other people, especially for me, who were the mother, for the father, but also for the doctors, the nuns that were helping him. And so really for me, looking at Carlo, I must say that the death seems to be the best things we can do, no? Because we go to meet our Lord, that is the most beautiful things we have in the universe.
When Carlo passed away, when he died, I felt his absence in this house, you know. I was so sad. I could not sleep, I was thinking of him always. Then he came in my dream, stating that, you know, like, "Rajesh, you should not be so sad, you know. Life on earth, it is about blinking of eyes, you know. It's a blinking of eyes, it's just for a moment, you know. You should not fear for death. If you live a beautiful life, following all of the commandments, you will be coming to paradise, you too, and there you will live forever, you know, in eternity." Then I got that force, that joy to live.
Lui che aveva 15 anni era nel momento di maggior crescita personale dei suoi interessi, dei suoi progetti, e nonostante tutto ciò lui ha abbracciato la morte, e come vedesse la morte come un poter abbracciare Dio è quello che lui aveva fino a quel momento coltivato attraverso la comunione, la confessione e quel suo lato spirituale. Quindi questo credo che sia da grande esempio.
If someone asked me to negotiate the boundary between the real and the simulacra of the real, I think I would locate it in suffering. Machines don't suffer. Suffering puts you in touch with reality.
He befriended the beggars on the streets. He would spend time with them. Kids who were bullied at school. And it's doable for all of us. That's the amazing thing about Carlo. He's a saint on our level. Carlo knew that his life would become sweet by laying it down for others.
This is how I want to look at every form of suffering that I experience. Not abhorring it as a sign that I don't make myself, but welcoming it, rejoicing that I don't make myself, but I do have a creator who loves me.
Carlo says this, one of his sayings, "You too can become a saint, but you need to desire it. And if you do not yet desire it, ask the Lord for it." We'll go before his tomb now. Maybe you need to ask the Lord for it here.
When I walked in there, I didn't know what to expect. Carlo, he was right there. That guy's in heaven. He looked like he could have sat up and started talking to us.
Just the realness of him right in front of us, a true saint right there.
Just to see someone who's my age becoming a saint. Started crying when I saw him.
I was standing like in the doorway, and that's when I really started just right there, just praying to him for my mom. Honestly, his whole story and the way he devoted himself to God, it really put into perspective how short life is and how we have to thank God for every moment. And as hard as it is now, something will come out of it. something good. It was really hard to walk away, but
I just remember like bawling as I was walking out and like gratitude that I was able to have that time there.
I just like got goosebumps all over my body because he was literally my age and he impacted that many people.
Saints can just be the most normal people. It can be the person that just does something with so much love and so much faith.
People in the present are becoming saints right now.
No matter who you are or wherever you are, you can make a difference in the world.
Carlo Acutis died 2 weeks after my birthday. And like growing up with the internet, it's nice to know that there's saints who struggled with the same things that we're struggling with now.
That really, really opened my mind to I can be a saint.
But we have to like not only help ourselves grow in our faith, but help others around us grow in our faith as well.
His story, it's so like achievable in our life, and we might not be pronounced a saint for it, but I know that like in the end, like we'll be rewarded, so.
This past Saturday, the town of Assisi was alive as people from near and far arrived to celebrate the beatification of Carlo Acutis.
Right after Carlo died, at first his fame started to spread through social media in Italy. Groups of pilgrims started to show up at his parish and ask his pastor, "Is this where Carlo went to Mass?" And a group of his high school friends created a Facebook group just to reminisce about Carlo, and people started to contact them. They wanted to know more, and it has spread like wildfire around the world.
A warm welcome to all of us as we gather from the Diocese of Beaumont to welcome the Acutis family.
Carlo was a very ordinary child of our age, but he opened the door of his heart to Jesus, and so his ordinary life became extraordinary. Because when we let Jesus enter inside our heart, everything will be transfigured, everything will become special. And this is a mystical life, to live always with awareness that God is always with us.
Jimmy and I were sitting in my office, and I said, "Jimmy, I want to dedicate the chapel at the new camp to Blessed Carlo Acutis." And he says, "Well, I don't know who that is." I said, "Here's a book." And I opened the book, and it says, "Feast Day, October the 10th. It was October the 10th we were sitting in my office. Well, that seals the deal. Blessed Carlo Acutis, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Carlo has been a worker of wonders. In 2009, a young boy named Mateus was born in Brazil, but he was born with a kind of abdominal deformity. So by the time he was 4 years old, he weighed only 20 pounds. His mother had been praying fervently for his healing, and a local priest had obtained a relic of Carlo. This young boy prays in front of the relic, "I just want to stop vomiting." Immediately in the car on the way home, he was healed. When he gets home, he asked for food for the first time ever in his life. The next day, and during subsequent visits to doctors, it was demonstrated that he had a completely normal pancreas.
We have the second miracle of Valeria, who fell from her bike, her skull broken open and then healed completely. I hear of other miracles too. So yes, For Carlo to be a saint means that his intercession from heaven continues. He truly is God's influencer.
Carlo Acutis is on his way to becoming the Catholic Church's first millennial saint.
Couldn't come soon enough. Let's bring this man to the highest levels of the altars because he is such a great example.
The Vatican wants us to know that holiness is very much still possible, that Carlo is very clearly advocating for people in heaven.
Many devotees of Carlo all around the world were waiting for this moment. And me, especially, I'm very happy because I know that Carlo is an example for many young people.
The great French novelist Léon Bloy tells us that the only great tragedy in life, the only great failure in life, the only great disappointment in life is not to become a saint. Carlo knew that from a very early age.
The message of all the saints, Carlo included, is that you and me are supposed to become saint, insert your name here. Not that they're these inaccessible stories, but that we're supposed to become them. And I think that's one of the beauties of the saint in sneakers and jeans. You know, he drives that point home.
I want the world to consider Carlo as always with us. He's a friend, so we can speak to him, and he will always be there.
In a digitally addicted world, we need an example of a young man who used it so well because there is so much good.
He went so deeply into the world. He didn't retreat from it. He understood that there were problems with technology, with contemporary culture, but rather than retreating out of fear and setting up a dualism, he saw that because Christ has redeemed the world, he was called to go into that world and to bring it, restore it to Christ.
He is going to do for Catholics in this century what the little way of St. Therese did for Christians in the 20th century.
He was trying not to magnify himself or his own projects or his own interests, but he was trying to draw people to someone else, to direct their gaze to the one place that mattered, to look to Christ to find happiness.
A good litmus test for whether or not the internet and its use is healthy is the question, is it leading you off the internet? I think the most heightened, beautiful purpose of the internet is to lead you back to real life and back to people. And that's how Carlo Acutis lived his life.
You have to create this environment where you're leading people into a relationship with the Lord through His church and through His sacraments, and especially through the Eucharist.
Carlo brought his family back to the faith. Carlo converted people by simply being a guy who everyone knew Jesus was important to him. It was something he was unafraid to share, and that made him very different. We're all made in God's image and likeness. Until we restore an understanding of that, we will all die photocopies.
You're not asked to become anyone other than who you are, which means everything about you, your interests, your wounds, your relationships, your hair color, all of that is taken up in the relationship with Christ. As we follow Him, we become more particular, more ourselves, and therefore sometimes weirder. But it's precisely through embracing this that we experience a communion with others.
There's not many words that can describe what's going on right now.
Oh my gosh. White people!
So it was like 2 days after we came home from the trip, I got in the car and I was going on my phone. I realized, like, after an hour, I didn't know, like, what I was doing or what I'd done for the rest, like, that past 2 hours. And I immediately realized how, like, sucked we are into it and how much it drains our life. So I ended up deleting actually a couple of our social media apps and realizing how freeing it is and just being able to be more real with everybody and be more vulnerable and just have those conversations. I had to fight that temptation to just click download again, but after like a month or two, it's like I never had that temptation and I felt a lot of good effects from it.
I went to Rome and I thought that it was gonna be, oh, these big beautiful buildings, and that's not what, because I'm already starting to forget what the inside of St. Peter's looked like. I'm starting to forget what the Colosseum looked like. But I'm remembering, okay, every day, strive to become a saint. It's not for the future, it's for now, it's for always, it's forever.
When I got back, my mom had an appointment in the cities, and the doctors told us that they can't remove the tumor just because it's so close to her brain, that if they did, and something went wrong, you know, something could happen. That was really hard to hear, definitely. Yeah, but they said it's not cancer, which is a good thing. But just because it's so small right now and it has that possibility to continue growing, they're just gonna keep an eye on it for now. But that's also very nervous, even though it's kind of good news, but kind of not. So. And trying not to be so anxious about like what's gonna happen tomorrow, what's gonna happen in 20 minutes. Just kind of just taking it step by step. So I'd say that's definitely changed.
Carlo gave me the courage when I came home that he has to deepen my faith each and every day and to be more like him. And I often find myself praying to Carlo, give me the strength to stay off technology, to find courage in expressing my faith to others.
After seeing his tomb and I got home from the trip, went to his websites that he's made and just kind of studied about him a little bit more. So it was a very down-to-earth moment, seeing that I'm not called to be a saint when I'm 30, 40. I'm called to be a saint now.
Scene 27, take 9. This is the best buy I've ever. Okay, that was fun.
The hike? That was... I didn't walk up it barefoot like some other people did. I didn't carry a huge log on my back like one student from Shanley did. But it was hard. It was hard, and I'm a cross-country runner. I thought it was hard. I tried to run up it. That lasted about 2 minutes, and then I was like, nope, we're just going up. We're good.
Being on the pilgrimage with everyone else, knowing that we're all experiencing the same thing and we're all just teenagers from North Dakota, and like seeing my friends who like haven't really practiced their faith like outside of school really do that on the pilgrimage, like that has been one of the biggest things for me. Like I've had friends that have like considered converting to Catholicism, and I think that's absolutely huge because not everyone gets to experience what we experience. Like I didn't want to leave. I just wanted to stay there forever and just like live in Rome, like on the pilgrimage, if that even makes sense.